Behind the woodshed sits a 5-gallon bucket. Rainwater fills it halfway. A handful of grass clippings drifts across the top, and one heaping spoonful of a powder that runs $17 at any hardware store. Every female mosquito within a 100-yard radius of this farmhouse is winging her way toward that bucket right this minute to drop her eggs. Each egg she leaves there will be dead inside the next 24 hours. My honeybees go untouched. So do the butterflies in my wife's flower garden, the dog, the chickens, the songbirds at the feeder, the children running barefoot through the grass at dusk, all untouched. There is exactly one creature this kills. My name is Uncle Yoder. I am Amish. 11 hives of honeybees run on this farm. My wife runs a half-acre full of flowers and herbs the pollinators depend on. And 9 summers have gone by without a single mosquito biting me at my own kitchen table. There is no electric bug zapper in our yard. There is no spray truck rolling down our road. No chemical company has us under contract. What I am about to walk you through is the whole method, each step, what every piece costs, where to put it. Once that is laid out, I will tell you the part you ought to find troubling. The pest control outfits in your town have known about this approach for 40 years. Most of them keep spraying anyway, with chemicals that wipe out the honeybees right alongside the mosquitoes. The reason is plain. A bee-safe option does not require a monthly visit at $200 a stop. Stick with me. You will walk away knowing how to drive the mosquitoes off the land you own, this weekend, for less than 1 round of professional spraying costs. And your bees will be grateful. Start with the piece almost everyone misses. If this part does not land, none of the rest will hold. Mosquitoes are not arriving from the sky, not from the woods, not riding the breeze off the neighbor's pond. Every mosquito biting you out in your yard hatched on your own property. From water that just sits there. And hardly any is needed. A bottle cap caught in the wrinkle of an old tarp will do it. A clogged gutter with half a cup of rainwater held for 4 days will do it. The saucer beneath your potted geranium will do it. A female mosquito drops anywhere from 100 to 300 eggs in a single batch. She manages the whole thing in less water than your cupped palm holds. That is the entire game. If standing water sits on your land more than 4 days, a mosquito hatchery is what you are running. Get rid of that water or poison it so the eggs cannot hatch, and you have shut the problem down at the source. Our people have done this forever. My grandfather walked the property every Saturday morning all summer long, an empty coffee can in his hand, and he tipped out every saucer, every tarp fold, every old bucket, every wheelbarrow that had filled up across the past week. He had a name for it, walking the line. As for the spots he could not empty, the low dips out in the pasture grass, the cattle trough, the rain barrel up against the back door, for all of those he kept a second trick. I will get to it in about 3 minutes. The English chase the mosquito after she is hatched and lifted into their face. We end her in the water before she ever grows wings. The Amish way runs roughly an hour each month. The English way runs a monthly invoice in a fogged-out yard that smells like a high school chemistry lab. This weekend, here's what to gather. 3 items. A 5-gallon bucket, dark-colored. Orange will work. Red, brown, or black. Stay away from white. I will tell you why shortly. 2 or 3 handfuls of grass clippings, or dead leaves if those are easier, and a single container of a product they sell as mosquito bits. You will spot it in the lawn and garden aisle at any hardware store, sometimes shelved over with the pond supplies. Around $17. Place the bucket where it stays out of sight, tucked behind a shed, hidden under a hedge, set out behind the barn, anywhere but next to where you sit down to eat. The whole point is to pull the mosquitoes toward that corner and away from where you actually live. Fill the bucket halfway with water. Rainwater is best, but the tap works fine. Drop in a fistful of grass clippings, a couple of dead leaves, maybe a twig or 2. Nothing elaborate, enough that the water reads as a little dirty, a little marshy. The reason for the dark colors? Because any female mosquito hunting for a place to drop her eggs is searching for water that looks like the shaded, still pools her species evolved alongside across millions of years. A white bucket sitting in full sun reads as nothing whatsoever to her. A dark one tucked into the shade reads as home. Color does the work here. You will have to trust me on it. Why the clippings? Because as those clippings rot, they put out the same compounds that decaying plant matter gives off in a natural pond. The scent flags to a female mosquito that this is a fine spot to leave her young. You are not building a swamp, you are building a decoy pond. The hottest piece of real estate on your whole property, from any mosquito's point of view. Here is the move that converts the decoy pond into a graveyard. Grab one heaping spoonful of mosquito bits and dust it across the surface of the water. That is the whole operation. No stirring required, no measuring. One spoonful drifting on top. What you have just added is something called BTI. The proper name is Bacillus thuringiensis israelensis. That mouthful is why no one bothers saying it. The compound is a bacterium, never a chemical. Not a poison in the way most folks reach for that word. It is a living organism that occurs naturally in soil across the planet. The first known sample was pulled out of a desert pond in 1977. The remarkable thing is that it kills exactly one type of creature, the mosquito larva. The wiggling worm-shaped thing that pops out of an egg and stays in water about a week before turning into a winged adult. When the larva swallows a particle of BTI, a hole opens in its gut. Inside a day, the larva is dead. The same effect hits mosquito larvae, black fly larvae, and fungus gnat larvae. Nothing else. Bees are unaffected. Butterflies are unaffected. Dragonflies, which eat mosquitoes for a living, are unaffected. Fish, unaffected. Frogs, unaffected. Songbirds, unaffected. The dog, unaffected, if she happens to dip her nose in the bucket. I am not stretching the truth. The reason for the specificity is that a mosquito larva's gut runs alkaline in a particular way. The toxin inside BTI only switches on under that exact chemistry. The gut of a honeybee runs altogether different. So does yours. So does everything else's. You could swallow a glass of the bucket water and your body would shrug it off. Please do not go swallow any of the bucket water for real. That is not the lesson here. The science behind it, though, is rock solid. Germany has been deploying BTI in their national mosquito control program since 1981. Pennsylvania uses it. So does Maryland. They dump it from airplanes over coastal marshland. There is not a safer mosquito control product on the planet, and there has not been for 40 years. So why is the lawn care company in your town not reaching for it? Most are not, and the reason is plain. BTI costs almost nothing. It sells right over the counter to the public. And the minute you know what it is, their service becomes optional. A $17 container of bits will carry a single family through the entire summer. A monthly mosquito spray contract runs anywhere from $60 to $90 per visit. Figure out which one your local lawn outfit would prefer to sell you. One spoonful of mosquito bits drifting on a half-full bucket of swampy water knocks out every mosquito egg dropped into that bucket over the 2 to 4 weeks ahead. After that window, the BTI breaks down, and another spoonful goes in. The maintenance schedule is no more complicated than that. Here is how to scale this up so it actually works for the whole property. Because one bucket tucked behind one shed will not clear a half-acre lot. A minimum of 3 buckets, one to each side of the house, positioned well clear of where you sit, where you eat, where the children play. Always away. The buckets are not decor. The job is to pull the enemy toward that distant corner and away from your camp. Mine are split across 3 positions. The north corner has one parked behind the woodshed. The east side holds another, set in back of the bee yard. A third sits on the west, slipped in behind the rosemary so my wife does not catch me at it and start in on how it ruins the view. She holds firm opinions about how a yard ought to look. I have learned not to argue. For any flower bed where there is no good way to keep a bucket out of view, grab the lid the bucket shipped with and run 4 short wooden dowels through it for legs. And balance the lid back on top like a little hat. Now the rain cannot pour in and water down the BTI, while the mosquitoes can still slip in underneath to lay their eggs. $3 in dowels. 5 minutes with a drill, if one is handy. Or it can be done with a single screw and a screwdriver if a drill is not. I am not going to pretend I run power tools. There is no electricity on this farm. The hand drill my father handed down does the job perfectly well. For the spots where a bucket cannot fit, a roadside ditch, a pasture dip that pools up whenever the rain comes hard, an old stock tank sitting beside the barn. The same active ingredient comes in a different package. They look like small brown donuts. The label calls them mosquito dunks. Toss one in and walk away. Each donut treats around 100 square feet of standing water and runs for about 30 days. A box lives in my mudroom, and a donut goes into the rain barrel out back on the 1st of each month from May through September. Now for the trap most folks never think to check. Your gutters. If there is debris up there, leaves. Pine needles. The kind of buildup any house accumulates within a year of the last cleaning. Then the gutters are holding water. Not a lot. Plenty for the job. Drop a spoonful of mosquito bits straight down into the gutter every 2 or 3 weeks through mosquito season, and you have killed off what is most likely the largest single mosquito nursery on your land. Most homeowners have no clue their gutters are running a nursery up there. The mosquitoes have known all along. Before pressing on, let me put in a word about the piece no hardware store carries, which is the habit of walking your own land. Every week through summer, ideally in the cool first hours after sunrise, take along an empty coffee can or a small pail and walk a full loop around the yard. Every saucer beneath every potted plant. The wheelbarrow propped against the barn. The dog dish you stopped using. Any wrinkle in the tarp covering up the firewood. The kiddie pool nobody put away. The bird bath. The downspout that is clogged. The stack of old tires, if you happen to have one. And if you do, please get them off the property. Tires are the worst single mosquito factory anyone has ever invented. Empty them. Flip them. Walk the line. The agricultural extension folks have a name for this. They call it source reduction, and it carries half the load. You could set out 50 buckets of BTI and still not match the payoff of dumping the 6 little catch pools hidden around your yard, 5 minutes per week. A mosquito gets her start in the water. Finish her there. All right, the walking is done, the buckets are out, the gutters are treated, that covers the eggs and the larvae. A problem remains. Adult mosquitoes are still alive out there, hatched last week, hunting blood so they can lay one final batch of eggs before they die. They will not figure out on their own that the bucket is the destination. They come looking for you on the porch. So the adults call for a second piece of the system, one that also stays safe around the bees and the butterflies, and that runs you a few dollars plus a single afternoon to put together. The tool for adults is essential oils, the real ones, actual plant extracts, cedarwood, garlic, rosemary, lemongrass, clove, peppermint. None of these are perfumes. They are concentrated plant compounds. They have served as insect repellents for thousands of years across every continent by people who had nothing else to work with and figured out which oils did the job. You can pick them up already blended in a handful of brand-name sprays at the hardware store, packaged in a bottle that screws onto your garden hose. I will be straight with you. The hose end sprayer is a poor performer. It atomizes the mist too fine, and it empties too fast. The right rig is a pump-up garden sprayer, the sort you fill, pressurize by hand, and sling over the shoulder. Around $40 at the hardware store. Lasts a lifetime. Pour water into the tank, up to about 3/4 full. Shake the bottle of mosquito repellent oil. Shake it hard, because the oils sink to the bottom. Then add the volume listed on the label. For most products, that lands somewhere around 4 to 8 ounces in a 4-gallon tank. Give the whole sprayer a shake to mix it. The water clouds up like skim milk. Then take the rig out and start spraying. Here is the part most folks foul up. The open air is the wrong target. The oils flash off too quickly, and the spray ends up wasted. Target the undersides of every leaf in the bushes, the hedges, the tall flowers, the porch eaves, the inside face of any wooden lattice, the backside of the wood pile. In daylight, mosquitoes are not in the air. They rest. They settle on the cool undersides of leaves in the shade and into the sheltered pockets of your shrubs, waiting on evening. Hit those resting places, and the whole adult population goes down in one afternoon. Spray the patio furniture, the undercarriage of the deck, the lattice around the porch. Skip any flower currently in bloom. This part matters. Even though these particular oils will not kill any honeybee, they discourage her from landing wherever you spray. Hitting the blossoms tells your pollinators to take their work to somebody else's yard. That is exactly the opposite of the goal. I work through my whole farmstead. The porch first. The shrubs along the kitchen entry, the wood stack out back. Then the fence line along the chicken yard. Roughly 45 minutes start to finish. It will hold for 2 to 3 weeks depending on the rain. After a hard thunderstorm, I run another pass. The total cost, under an hour each month and a few dollars worth of oil. Now, I want to bring up 2 more practices from inside my community, because both are part of how we have always handled this. First on the list is the Purple Martin House. Anybody who has driven through Elkhart County in Indiana, or Holmes County in Ohio, or down the back roads here in Lancaster County has seen them. The houses are unmistakable. Tall white poles topped by what looks like a miniature white apartment building. 15 feet up in the air, set in the open, well clear of the trees. They stand on Amish farms everywhere. A man named Andy Troyer, an Amish carpenter over in Pennsylvania, came up with one of the most widely sold designs. Folks know it as the T14. They show up at our auctions all summer long. I owe you the honest truth about the martins, though. There is a story circulating that a single purple martin eats 2,000 mosquitoes a day. That story is not quite right. Researchers have looked at what is actually in the birds' stomachs, and mosquitoes turn out to be a small fraction. The bulk is beetles, dragonflies, moths, and the bigger flying insects that fill the daytime air while the martins are hunting. Mosquitoes mostly come out after the martins have gone in for the night. But here is what the martins actually do for you. What they eat are the bigger insects that would otherwise be making meals of your garden. They are beautiful birds to watch. The morning song is a joy. Our children love tending to them. They have lived on our farms for 200 years, for reasons reaching well beyond mosquito control. They are good neighbors. Good neighbors are worth keeping. So if you have the open space, the martins want a pole 15 feet high, planted no closer than 60 feet to any tree or structure. Put one up. It will not resolve your mosquito problem on its own, but the farm turns livelier for it. A property loud with songbirds, dragonflies, bats, and frogs is one where mosquitoes struggle to gain a foothold. The ecosystem starts pulling in your favor instead of against you. The second thing worth bringing up is what my grandmother did at dusk. When the evening cooled with the family settled on the porch, she used an old tin can. A coffee can, with nail holes punched along the side for airflow. She would pack the inside with a small handful of dried herbs out of her garden. Rosemary, sage, dried lavender. A sprig of mugwort thrown in on the bad mosquito years. One lit chunk of charcoal at the bottom would set the herbs smoldering. The smoke pouring off those herbs is what our people relied on before anything else existed. The scent is wonderful. Nothing close to a chemical bug spray. Closer to a kitchen at Christmas. And it holds the mosquitoes back from about a 10-foot circle for the whole time the herbs are burning. The same setup works on your own patio tonight. One small ceramic dish. One charcoal disc, picked up at the hardware store. One pinch of dried rosemary or sage, pulled out of your spice cabinet. That covers the entire list. The smoke is mild. Honeybees are unbothered, because by that hour they are already back inside the hive for the evening, and no mosquito will come anywhere near it. I want to close with the larger picture. It matters. No animal alive on this planet kills more human beings every year than the mosquito. Not snakes, not sharks, not wolves. Not bears either. The mosquito. They carry West Nile virus, which is now turned up in every state in the country. They carry Eastern equine encephalitis, which is rare but ends the lives of roughly 1 in 3 of those who catch it. In other regions of the world they carry malaria, which still claims well past 500,000 lives a year, the majority of them children. This is no small matter. The talk is not about an itchy bump on the arm. But here is the way most of this country has been instructed to deal with the problem. Call up a company, sign the contract they hand over, let them spray the yard each month with a product that wipes out every insect in its path. That is not the only path. It is not even the better path. It is the path that earns somebody a profit. The honeybee population in this country is hurting. 20 years of decline. Whole hives crashing. The reasons are many, but one of the big ones is this. The same chemicals being sprayed on suburban lawns to handle mosquitoes are also wiping out the bees that pollinate the very food in those lawns. The pests cannot be killed without killing the helpers when the wrong tool gets reached for. And every beekeeping Amish farmer I am acquainted with says the same thing about the lawn care trucks that come rolling through our townships every summer. They are destroying our livelihood while putting on the appearance of helping the neighbors. BTI leaves the bees alone. Essential oil sprays leave the bees alone. Source reduction kills nothing besides mosquitoes. The whole system I have just walked through. Buckets. Dunks. Oils. Smudge. Walking the property. The total bill stays under 1 month of professional service. The build-out fits inside 1 weekend. After that, the setup is yours to run for life. No contract, no chemical, no collateral damage. This is what our people have done for generations, not on account of being clever, because there was no other option. When the hardware store is out of reach, when the spray truck cannot be called, when the monthly contract cannot be paid, you figure out what actually works, using whatever is in front of you. What the generations ahead of us worked out is that mosquitoes are really a water issue. And a water issue happens to be one you can solve for $17 and an hour of paying attention. For this weekend, here is the assignment. Walk the property with a coffee can in hand. Empty every saucer, every bucket, every wheelbarrow, every tarpfold that has water sitting in it. Source reduction. Step 1. It costs nothing. Set 3 buckets in hidden corners, dark in color, halfway full of water. A handful of grass clippings on top, 1 spoonful of mosquito bits in each. Tuck them where the eye skips past them, but where a mosquito will still find them. Toss a dunk into the rain barrel, into the gutter, into any drain pipe or low spot that holds water beyond a day or two. If the afternoon allows, pick up a pump-up sprayer plus a bottle of essential oil mosquito repellent and hit the undersides of the shrubs, behind the wood stacks, and the lattice work wrapped around the porches. That is the weekend. About $60 in materials the first time around, under $30 after that for the rest of the season. By the following Saturday evening, you will be out on the porch in the cool of the day. The mosquitoes will leave you alone, the honeybees will still be working the flowers. The butterflies will still be on the lavender, the dog will drink from whatever puddle suits her. Tell me down in the comments where you live, and what the mosquito situation looks like at your place right now. Every one of those comments gets read, and let me know if a bucket goes out. I want to hear how it works. Folks inside my community already know all of this. This is being written for folks outside of it, the ones who never had any of this shared with them. Coming up next, I will walk you through the trick my grandmother kept for August, the one that held the flies back out of the kitchen all summer long. The setup calls for a glass jar, a single sheet of paper, and one item out of the pantry that nobody would ever predict. It outperformed every fly trap on the shelf for a century, well before sticky paper showed up. It still beats anything you can buy today. Until next time, stay cool, stay watchful, and remember this. The folks who built this country with their own hands knew things we are only now beginning to rediscover.